Hello again, welcome back to our little YouTube channel. It's become quite clear during this COVID lockdown that we're all unfortunately going through at the moment that there seems to be a lot more people playing Fortnite for the first time, mainly dads who have been roped into playing it either because they're bored or because they've been asked to by the kids. So I figured I'd do a little video, some hints and tips to try and help. If you're new to Fortnite or you haven't played it very well, a lot, and you're finding yourself getting absolutely ruined by people who can build around you like crazy, because let's face it, if you're new to it, you don't know how to build it properly. I can't build properly, I'm pretty crap at it, and I still managed to win a few games. So just thought we'll do some hints and tips to see if we can help you get on a little bit easier with Fortnite. So before you play, best thing to do is settings. Pretty boring, but 5 minutes in the settings will, I think, help you a little bit along the way in the game. So if you are new to it, what I would recommend that you do, some real simple options. If you're playing on a PlayStation or Xbox, some of your options might be slightly different. I'm using a PC. I would always recommend trying to keep your view distance as high as possible if you've got the option. Obviously a bit more of an advantage when you're looking if you can see the person first. And drop down things like shadows if you can, things like that, because that will help people. It'll be harder to see people in the game basically. So that's pretty much it for that. If I'm honest, the first set of the settings in there. Move along onto the main game settings. Now this is what you are going to need to play around with. This will help you in the game speed a few things up, and obviously the more the game can do for you, the less you've got to think about. So what I generally would do would be leave the sprint by default on, turn off sprint cancels your reloading, because you find half the time you spend reloading your guns, and leave off auto open doors. The last thing you want to do when you're hiding from somebody is accidentally open the door when you didn't want to. I have the hold to swap pickup on. I find if it's a tap to swap pickup, sometimes you pick stuff up accidentally. And simple things like auto sort your consumables to the right, i.e. your shield and your meds and your healables. So that way when you pick them up, if you've got empty slots, it will automatically chuck it on the right hand side. So sort of nice and easy. Building is the bane of all of our existence. If you're not 15 and made out of rubber, you can press 15 billion buttons in 3 seconds flat. So what I tend to do is turn on turbo building. I'll go through this with you in a second, and confirm edit on release. This will make sense a bit more in a second. And in the extra game options, to be fair, I don't think you really need to touch unless you wanted to record your replays. I don't bother with the HUD, leave all that on. I don't use a mouse. Right, your controller options. What you will have on your controller will be that, which is not advanced options, normal. You can have a play around with this. Basically that's how fast you look, and ADS is aiming down your sights. That is how fast you will look when you're aiming down your sights. Now you can have a tinker around with that. That's going to be a how you prefer it kind of setting. You can play around with your modifiers, so when you're in build mode it moves you faster, that kind of stuff. The important thing you've got here is the dead zones. Now these are the two you want to look at here. Basically the game sets them up all the way up here. That's basically to take out any inaccuracy you've got in your controller, but as you can see I can still move the stick quite a lot without it leaving that blue zone. Basically that's a dead zone, so as you're moving that stick your character is doing nothing in that blue zone, so you can still get quite a bit of movement. So I tend to drop them down, which you will need to do, and that will then mean your stick is much more sensitive. So when you actually move the stick, your character moves. So you don't get any dead zones when you're playing, and that will help you immensely. So in that one, these will be a trial and error thing. If you're in the game, you find that you're missing your shots, or when you turn around, you're going ahead of your character, of your target. Slow it down a little bit. If you think that you're not moving fast enough, speed it up a little bit. Another important feature on here, which I think is probably one of the most important features in the entire game, will be visualized sound effects. You do need to turn that on. Now, what will happen is when you're playing in the game, when you hear footsteps, you'll see a little around your character, 360, a direction on what those footsteps are going from. It also helps with when you're being shot at, you'll see the direction that the shots are coming from, and you'll also see chests and things like that, which will give you a guide as to where stuff is coming from. It's probably the most important feature, I find, and the rest of this is all down to just party chat and things like that, so you can ignore it. But yeah, visualize sound effects you definitely want on. And controller, you don't really want to play around with this too much, but I personally think you should be playing under Builder Pro, and I will show you why in a second. So that's very quick, couple of minutes, but that will make a big difference to how you play the game, and will give you some actual help. Right, okay, so next thing sounds really silly, but it does help. When you're playing, it's really tempting to use some of the really cool skins that you can get in the game, but if you don't want to be seen, a giant banana in a white suit is probably a bad idea. You can be seen from miles away, and you're much easier, you can't hide so well and things like that. So while you're new at the game, I would try and keep with a neutral skin. You can play as a default skin, which is just those, or you can play as something that blends in to the background, at least that way. That will give you a chance when you are hiding, when you're sneaking around, maybe in the bushes or in the trees or whatever, of not actually being seen. I tend to use this one or this one most of the time. So we just change them over. Basic setups, basic simple things that will help you play. Now I'm just going to move into Battle Lab. Now Battle Lab will help you very quickly. Just going to make your own game. You can play on your own, or you can invite your friends in. This will help you just fine tune some of your settings, but I'm also going to show you a couple of very simple things that will help you hopefully not die. And this will be mainly down to how to build simple stairs, how to build simple walls. Nothing like skyscrapers that some of these people can build in a number of seconds and murder you, because I can't help you with that. Can't help me with that. But playing the game and getting into learning your controls and learning your settings as well. So Battle Lab is nice and simple. You can go in on your own, you can land where you want. So, and this is basically a nice free-for-all, so you can do what you like. So come down here, I'll collect some materials quickly just to show you. Now a few minutes ago we discussed turbo building and edit on release. So when you go into your edit menu, on Builder Pro, you will see that now your shoulder buttons have become the individual pieces. I find this much easier to use. If you go into Combat Pro, which I think a lot of people use, and you think to yourself, oh, Combat Pro, that'll be much better. If you go into Combat Pro, when you go into these, you'll notice the L1 and R1 move across your build pieces, and then you still have to select the piece using your trigger, your R2, to actually build it. So it's an extra button press, plus you need to remember where the bits are. So when someone's shooting at you, you need to work out exactly where everything is. For me, and I think for a lot of new people playing this, I think that'll be much more confusing, and I certainly find it much more confusing. With Builder Pro, the L2 builds your set of stairs. Nice and simple, one press. You haven't got to move across to try and find what piece that you want. So when you are being shot at, it's a simple case of you want to put a wall up, circle R1, R2, sorry, and it puts a wall in the way. Nice and simple. You haven't got to scoot across different sets. So that pretty much all I can show you at the time, because I'm not very good at the building at the moment. I'm still learning myself, but that just shows you. So turbo building and edit on release, confirm on release, sorry, is simple. So when you release the button, it will build the piece. So it's nice and easy. So it's not going to save your life, but what it will do, well, it will save your life. But what it will also do is if you're running down and you've got a wall in front of you or a cliff that you can't potentially get up, it's nice and easy, turbo building, and it will continue to build a set of stairs. And if somebody shoots you, boom, you can put a wall up without the need to physically choose the piece that you want to do. So that is about as much building as I can help you with. Right, let's just go back into the main game. And I'll show you some very basic combat maneuvers. Certainly when you're new at the game, to try and help you survive. So again, a couple of little tips, a couple of things in the game that will show you what you can do, what you can't do, and what guns I find most useful. So into a solos, this is where I die straight away. So just a quick recap while this is loading. The most important things I think in the setup of this game is going to be you visualize your sound effects, your dead zones on your sticks on your controller to make those a bit smaller, to make the controller a little bit more sensitive. Note on the dead zones, if you find that your character is moving on its own, then you want to make the dead zone slightly bigger. You basically want that circle as small as possible without getting any drift on your controller, so your character isn't doing something you don't want it to do. You want to do turbo building and confirm build on release, and you want to be on Builder Pro, which is a bit counterintuitive if you can't build, but makes sense. So we're in the game, and immediately you can see that being green helps you, certainly in the wooded areas, blend in to the background a little bit more. So I'm going to land here, which is called the orchard. There's a reason for that, I'll show you, because there's a few things in here that I can show you straight away which will help you. As a side note, if you are new to the game, places like this or quieter areas on the map are going to be much better for you. Landing in main towns and main zones and areas, it's a quick way to get yourself killed, certainly closer to the centre of the map. Purely because the better players are going to go to the middle of the map. There's less running from the storm when that starts coming in, and towns have a lot of stuff in it, but this is a pretty good area to come into. There's a lot of resources here and an upgrade machine. So immediately you can see around my character where that chest is. You can now see a little HUD in front of my character that's showing me there's a chest in that direction. Right, let's pick some stuff up. Big shields allow you to get up to 100%. Little shields will only take you up to 50. So a good tip is try and find some small shield first to take you to. If you can't find small shield, just use the big pot straight away. Some meds here. I'm going to go through some guns for you in a second. Let's just pick up a few guns and we'll see what we can do. So, another chest over here. Pick that up. So what you want to do as quick as you can is you want to pick up some proper meds. Bandages will give you 25 at a time up to 75. Med kits will heal you up to 100 on your heals, but it's slow. Right, I'll go through guns very quickly while I'm running around here looking for some more stuff. So assault rifles, burst and normal. Oh, here's a small pot, it's typical. Right, okay. So assault rifles, these kind of things here, are great for medium to long range shooting, and are definitely your bread and butter in this. Close up, things like shotguns, pistols, shotguns, which I'm on now, and SMGs are much better for close up. Honestly, in the entire game, the shotgun is, when you're close up, nothing's really beating a shotgun. If I'm perfectly honest with you, it's the actual hitting power when you're very close to somebody is pretty much unstoppable, and you'll find that when you get absolutely ruined by somebody up close, 9 times out of 10 it's with a shotgun. While I'm in here, I'll show you quickly. You can go into your options settings by pressing up on your D-pad, and it will show you as you move across the bottom on the top left hand side the statistics of the gun. Damage is how much damage it can do per shot. Tend to ignore the DPS because that's a little bit pointless really, unless like this will do 216 damage per second if you can hit every shot, and if you are, which I don't think at the moment you're going to be able to do. As a guide, grey is the worst, as you can see by the star rating. Then it goes green, then it goes blue, then it goes purple, and then it goes gold. There are some mythics in the game. Here we go, a blue one. So I'll show you the difference between these. A normal AR will just keep on shooting. A burst AR will shoot in 3 short bursts. They do have their advantages. A burst AR is brilliant for sneak attacks. You basically get 3 shots off very quickly, and if you can get somebody in the head, certainly with something that is of good quality, a blue, purple, a gold is immense. When you get that sneak shot off, you can kill somebody pretty much outright before they even know that you're there, which when you're not very good at the game is a godsend. The bursts, yeah, if you can carry a burst for the initial shot and change to a normal AR afterwards if you've got the space. That will help you immensely in the long run. Couple of little hints and tips for you. Pump shotguns. Do 1 shot and then they have to. You have to have a gap in between your shots. Tactical shotguns, which I haven't found yet, will continue to fire until they're empty. You can just hold your finger on the button. Oh, I've got footsteps coming in. Bear with me. Oh, he's gone outside. Let's see if we can win a fight. I don't think we're getting someone out there's got a rocket launcher. Our tutorial could be cut very short here. give yourself a bit of protection. Let's try and move out of the way here. Oh, wrong way. Right, okay. Let's see what we can do to win this little fight with somebody who clearly knows what he's doing when it comes to building. Let's get off of it. Ah, rocket launchers. Oh, yeah, you bugger. So as you can see, when you get into a build fight, it becomes incredibly confusing, and I'm dead. Right, that wasn't the plan. There's one more thing in there I wanted to show you. So it's ready up, but I'll come back down and I'll show you quickly. And then we'll move on, and hopefully I can show you a couple more tricks and tips without being murdered by a little rubber person who can build walls. As you can see, rocket launchers are quite useful. They are quite hard to find in the game at the moment. A little complaint about Epic is that they seem to be favouring the builders at the moment. It's very, very hard if you get into a fight with somebody you can build very well without something like a rocket launcher or some grenades, which are currently unavailable, to try and blow the build down. Epic seems to be favouring people who can build a lot. Even sniper rifles you can't now get until you go into one of the special areas in the game. But it is what it is. So, wait for this to load back up. We'll go back to the orchard. There might be a lot of people in there at the moment, but we'll go back there and we'll show you something else. Nice, down we go. Pushing down on the stick brake to go faster. Get myself in this barn quickly. In the red barn in here, there's things called upgrade machines. So what you can do, they take materials, but this will help you stand a bit of a chance. Bloody pump shotguns, I don't like pump shotguns. Right, a tactical shotgun. That's the difference. That's a much better gun if you're new to the game. And this is not helping me at all. Right. So down here, you have a thing called an upgrade machine. Now these, as you can see, it will take 50 of each to turn that grey into a green. Take 100 of each to turn that green into a blue. So when you're in an area like this and you haven't found, if you can upgrade your weapons, then it gives you a much better chance of getting further into the game and basically winning. I've got an AR, thankfully. Let's get rid of it. I personally like a tactical, so I always stay with a tactical shotgun because I find it easier. Someone I think has dropped some grenades down there, some mines down. There's somebody walking around. Right. I wouldn't normally run away from the fight, but I want to show you a few things as we're playing. So, as you're moving around the map, try as best as you can to use the terrain to give you some cover. So it's tempting to just run to the very top of the hill, but by staying down low, you can give yourself some protection from the right, from the left, and you know, stop you from being sniped from a long way off. Certainly if you're standing still. Loot llamas, quite useful. They tend to give you, take a long time to open, but they will give you much better stuff as standard than a normal chest will do. And general rule, do not, if you can help it, med or heal up out in the open. Oh, good. As you can see, I'm not brilliant at this game either. I think that was a bot. Right. And you can see with the burst gun there. Now close up, that would be much better off with a normal AR or a shotgun. As you can see with the burst assault rifle, it only does 3 quick shots, which in a very close-up fight is no good for you. Right, okay. Let's get myself healed up. No, don't really want that. I'll take that. Ammo boxes, just what they are. They just give you ammo. So that's pretty much all I can really help you with, but it's helpful. Try and stay low while you're learning the game. When you're new to it, use bushes, use the terrain, and I'm going to do another video very soon to just show you basically how to go into each different area on the map, which I'm just going to show you now, which will be video sort of number 2 really. So let me get into a bush and I can show you what's what. So on the map you've got 5 areas where you can get better ones. So you've got the yacht, the grotto, the rig, the shark and the agency. They have the main bosses in the game and they have the much better weapons in there. You can get things like sniper rifles, mini guns, more chance of picking up rocket launchers, and things of better rarity, gold items and purples and things like that. There are also another couple of smaller areas on the map which at the moment are called safe houses, which you can go to. There's one on that side there, there's one in a little place there. So our next tutorial will simply be to how to get into these, how to get some better weapons and give yourself a better chance of winning. Alright, cheers guys. It's a bit longer than I thought it was going to be. You know, half an hour of me droning on, so I apologise. But if you're new to it and if you're a dad that's been asked to play Fortnite by one of your kids, and you're finding you're struggling, you know, hopefully this will help you. Okay, well cheers for listening. Bye.